Winnipeg singer-songwriter Chris Michael is one of Manitoba's most exciting new country artists, injecting his songs with a heavy dose of rock energy. Chris has been captivating audiences across Manitoba with his high-energy performances, catchy hooks, and much more. Be sure to check out Chris's brand new single, Ol' Hoedown, which is available now on all streaming services. And make sure to saddle up at Cowboys Roadhouse on September 27th with the Chris Michael Band, Greg Arcade and the Coyotes, Band and Outlawed, and the Brady Kenneth Band. 4 bands picking great country music all night. On September 27th, saddle up at Cowboys Roadhouse. We talk a lot on this podcast about independent artists developing their careers and turning music into a full-time gig instead of just a hobby. One aspect that we don't discuss enough is the financial side of things. I'm not an expert in that department, but here's a guy who is. Trevor Fisher of Way to Wealth Management is a local certified financial planner who can help you start planning your financial independence. Although Trevor was recommended to me by some local musicians and past guests on the show, he can also help young people plan for their financial future, help those close to retirement map out their next steps, get young families on the road to success, and more. Call Trevor at 204-471-3011 or email him at trevor@way2wealth.ca to get your finances on the right track today. All mutual funds provided through Fundex Investments Incorporated. This episode of the podcast is my conversation with 2 members of local emo punks Screaming at Traffic. They were last on the show about 2 years ago around this time, and we've been wanting to do a follow-up episode for quite a while. There actually was a follow-up recorded that was hosted by Ryan, who, as you may remember, occasionally co-hosts episodes with me. He interviewed 2 members of the group about a year and a bit ago, and that episode just never came out. I can't remember what the reason was, but I think it was that the audio quality was unusable. That didn't happen, so here we are back again with a new interview. And they've been kind of hard to pin down as far as the time to do this because they've been touring almost non-stop. They have a brand new album out, a very good brand new album, called I Don't Like Sports. And it's their second release after their debut EP. And they've been touring like maniacs. I mean, when I caught them to record this interview, they were between tours, they were home for a few days, and then heading back out again, and it seems like they have a pretty heavy touring schedule going forward. It's a band that's doing big things. They've definitely, since the previous episode, improved their level of success and the amount of attention they've been getting. The album is great and is getting accolades accordingly, and yeah, I was really happy to have them on the show. Again, I would really highly recommend the new record. It's probably going to be on my list of favorite Winnipeg albums of 2019. You'll have to wait till the end of the year to check that out. But yeah, it's great. It's a fun interview. Good guys, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Which Police Radio. I'm back again for the first time in a couple years with 2 members of Screaming at Traffic, and it's the same 2 members who were on the show last time, which is weird.
Yep.
It's like you 2 are the official, but I mean, other members have done other interviews. I've heard other interviews.
Oh yeah, everyone.
But for some reason, you guys are the ones who end up on this show.
We try and take turns and just like
it just kind of
rotate it out.
And
it just so happened that it was our turn.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. So I mean, I've met you before, and hopefully people have heard that other episode because it's bizarrely popular.
It's still on the top 10.
Yeah, that's been kind of blowing our minds for the last forever since it happened.
Because it's been a while, right? And usually what happens is when I first release the episode, it gets a ton of downloads because it's new and people who automatically subscribe, they get it in their thing and whatever. And then every once in a while, some random old ones show up. But for some reason, for the past 3 or 4 months, this chunk of episodes from 2017 just keeps getting a bunch of downloads. and it's like you guys. There's no Gima episode in there. There's a couple other ones that just for some reason, all within a space of a couple months, someone has found that section of time and just I don't know. But
Right. Well, to all the Witch Police Radio listeners out there, thanks.
someone's doing it. I don't know
much
who it is.
appreciated
It's
whoever's
pretty
been
cool,
re-downloading the episode.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny because that's like, I almost wonder if it's because you guys are doing more stuff now. You're touring things like that, and people are just Googling you, and that's coming up.
I mean, that's kind of what we.
That doesn't explain all the other ones around the same time. That are getting
well, maybe
attention,
they click on ours and they're like, oh wow, they're like, oh, we found Screaming at Traffic. And they're like, maybe we should listen to some of these other ones and click around the ones in the same.
I think that's probably what. Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah. So
in that case, you're welcome. No,
yeah. But yeah, so it's kind of cool that you guys keep popping up there. It's
sweet.
But it's been a while. I mean, obviously a lot has happened. A lot has happened since that last interview.
Yes.
So I think to just start everything off, let's just get names and instruments so people can identify who we're talking to here.
My name's Paul, and I'm the bass player, and I do backup vocals.
And my name's Duncan. I play guitar and sing lead on half the songs in the band.
Right. And then who are we missing?
We're missing Stefan, who does drums, and
Jacques Richet, who is our
the other
singer.
The other guitar player who sings the other half the song.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So, just again to frame it on last time we had the conversation. I don't even think you guys had anything recorded yet, did you? You may have had a couple songs.
I think we were actually plugging the EP.
That makes sense.
We were plugging the EP.
We released the EP within weeks of our first show.
Right.
6 months of being a band or something like that.
Even less than that, I think, because we had it finished when we played that first house show in Zach's basement.
Oh yeah. Right.
And then our first actual show was at the Cavern, I believe, and at that show we were like, it was our
release show.
Yeah, release show.
Right.
But we then went on tour, and by the time we got back from that first tour, we had played more shows on the road than we had in Winnipeg.
Yeah, right. And you guys are touring heavy too. I mean, it seems like every time I see anything, you guys are on tour, or you're about to go on tour, or just got back from a tour.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was about there was one we did. I guess it would have been, I want to say March 2017 or 18.
2017. We didn't tour 2018 because that's when we were getting all the album stuff ready to go.
Yeah, because when we got back from that last tour, all that time ago, we went in and recorded the album, and that took
Sorry, I just figured it out. It's because we toured in October, right? We did, and then literally 5 months later in March, then we went again. So it just looks like we were doing a lot of touring.
It looks like you're constantly on tour.
And then we took that summer, we recorded the album with Jordan, and then we were gonna release that spring, but then we hooked up with Little Rocket Records and no, you gotta wait, we gotta do this properly and everything. And so that's why the album release got pushed.
Also thank you, Graham and Little Rocket, for teaching us your ways. Because
they were right, obviously.
And that was just a few months ago that came out, right?
Yeah, in June.
Okay.
Because we were basically, we had it recorded for about a year before we actually released it in its entirety. We released a couple of singles with videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And then during that period, obviously, we weren't touring, and then we did that shot out to
Edmonton
and Calgary, and did some release shows out there. Had a release show here, and then we just spent the last
3 weeks on the road,
which would be just for people who are listening to it, because this isn't going to be the last 3 weeks.
We left August 3rd. We got back August 21st or August 22nd or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we're about
took a little weekend off,
and then back,
and now we're going out west. Yeah, so the one over the start of August was out to Halifax and back.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then this next leg, which will probably be on or just finishing when you hear this, is Victoria
Island.
So you're going the complete other way. Yeah. Cool. So you're covering the whole country at this point.
That's the plan.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we've been out to Victoria before, so we actually can say we've been coast to coast now. But this one's actually a coast to coast tour. So.
Yeah, sure. With a small break.
Little break in the middle. Well, yeah.
You got to come back through Winnipeg anyway.
Yeah, so might as well enjoy the weekend at home, right?
So just to go back to the album, so it came out in June, and you said you had it kind of in the bag for a year. Mm-hmm. How does that? Well, first of all, just tell me about the record to start with. How did that come about? Putting that together, did you have? Because like you said, the EP was recorded pretty much right away when you started being a band.
Yeah, it was our first 4 songs.
So how much time was there kind of between the EP and then getting these songs together for the album? Did you already have these fairly early on too, or was it newer?
A year?
A lot of the songs that are on the album are songs we've been playing basically since the beginning. Okay, even 2 of the songs on the album are songs that we re-recorded from the EP.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, we wanted to just take everything we had and put it into one thing. There was a couple of songs that came kind of closer to the end. Hey Koyuki, we'd never even played live before it was on the album.
We had we worked with Jordan Voth actually on that one, and we were like, hey, we got one more. Like he said, bring out everything you got. And it's like, we got this one that's kind of half done. He's like, okay, play it as much as you can, and we did. He's like, yep. let's put that on the album. I was like, well, we're not done it yet. He's like, don't worry, we'll have some
we'll
fun.
finish it here. So we did, like, it was really fun kind of tweaking it with him, like, in the studio.
Yeah.
None of us had ever really worked with a producer in that kind of capacity.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, Jordan Vaught definitively produced it.
Yeah. Cool.
And it was just a lot of fun being like, just having Jordan be like, well, why don't you guys try this? Mm-hmm. And then, because like normally when we're sitting down in the basement here, we're like, well, we'll yell and scream at each other, or we'll talk politely, depends on the day, or how much beer we've drank that night. But like,
and it's a lot of like kind of picking things apart and like. Once you've heard the same song so many times, the same four people always talking about it, having someone come in who's never heard the songs before, look at them and think of a different way to, mess around with them. And
he's heard so many other bands too that he knows how to kind of
and so he heard things that we never heard before in the songs, and they were minor tweaks most of the time.
And that was the kind of the cool part. Like, everything was always minor. It was never go rewrite.
Yeah, it's not like a big overhaul, right? Yeah.
Like, well, you should just do a big stop here, and then like let this thing ring out, and then go back into it. It's like, oh, yeah, we never thought of that. That's actually great. Like, why did we not come up with that?
Has that changed how you play these songs live too?
Some of them, like most of the ideas he had were fairly like simple things that were very easy to work into the way we played them. So we figured anything that's on the album, ideally, like there's nothing on the album that we can't recreate live almost entirely, with the exception of some of the guest vocalists.
Right, and like that's something we told Jordan as well too. It was like whatever we put on the album, we want to be able to do.
You don't want like 16 layers of strings and shit on them.
Exactly.
I mean, that'd be cool, I guess.
Well, it'd be who wouldn't love that crazy, like pet sound stuff?
Of course.
But we wanted to be an album that's like, okay, you're hearing this, and when we play it live, you're hearing basically that, only probably played slightly
faster.
Sure.
Generally speaking,
because you get the live energy and everything. Yeah. So why Jordan? I mean, he's obviously done a lot of local albums, and he has a sound too. I mean, I think he has something that people. I don't know if people recognize it as listeners necessarily, but I mean, if you listen to a bunch of stuff he's done, there's a sameness to it. Like, I mean, in a good way.
Well,
what was the appeal for you guys, I guess?
Well, we had known Jordan for a while, and we know a lot of the stuff he's done in the punk scene, which all sounded... We loved the sound of a lot of his records. And, like, our first EP was literally recorded in our living room, very DIY. Stephen Smith did an incredible job with it, and I love the sound of it. It's really raw and intense.
Yeah.
So we know that Jordan is a very clean, kind of like pop almost kind of
for sure,
sheen to his stuff.
Well, a lot of the stuff he does is pop punk too, right?
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
has all those harmonies and everything. And yeah.
So we wanted to try and go the complete other way and work with Jordan because he would give us that like very like clean kind of sound and see how we would sound in that kind of context. And honestly, the album sounds great. Like it's I'm very happy with how it came out.
Yeah. And so does that also change sort of how you play the songs too? I mean, or do you keep that rawness when you play?
When we play live, it's still the same. Yeah. The only difference is that we, having done them in the studio, a lot of our like harmonies and stuff like that are more practiced and more deliberate. It's slightly less gang vocally and a little bit more
singy.
Yeah. That's the one major difference I think we came out of it is us being like, well, okay, we have to clean up our vocals a little bit here, and so I mean that's perpetually a work in progress.
Well, I'm pretty sure the last time we did an interview, when we introduced ourselves, I was like, yeah, I'm Paul, I play bass. Yeah. Now it's I play bass and do backup vocals because like that's just
a deliberate thing. Yeah.
That's just now something that kind of happened in the band, and here we are.
Cool. Sorry, just checking something. What do you have against sports?
Nothing.
Really nothing. None of us have like an actual issue with sports. We have the one song, the title track is called I Don't Like Sports.
Yeah.
But it's kind of more of a reference that Jacques makes to like a friend that passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
who was a huge sports fan and would always try and drag Jacques into conversations about hockey that he had no idea about.
He's a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan, and the idea is just kind of like tongue in cheek a little bit because a lot of the bands that we kind of listen to, like Modern Baseball, Sports Club, stuff like that, they're all like
sports related.
Like American football. So we were
like, it's a thing now. There's a lot of bands that have.
Well, it's an emo band thing.
It's an emo band thing. So we were like,
it's weird.
Screw me in traffic. I don't like sports.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, like, when the Jets are on, I'm sitting at home, and like we'll have band practice, and there'll be a Jets game on, and it'll be the first period, and I'll be sitting there, it's like, hey Paul, let's go. I'm like, after the first, we'll go downstairs for the second practice, come back out for the third, and Jacques, who will tell anybody out there that he doesn't like watching hockey, he doesn't like watching sports,
he's the loudest one yelling at the
TV, and more angry at the TV than I do, and it's just like, so I think Stefan would be the only one who's accurately indifferent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the reason, I mean, because it's a funny title regardless. I mean, but I have met some people who bizarrely think that being into sports and being into something creative are like, you can't have both, which is bizarre to me. Like, why can't you like two things? And there's definitely like a punk kind of idea of us versus the jocks sort of thing too, right? Yeah. So you never know when you hear someone saying that. It's like, really?
Well, I don't know. The Boston punk scene would have a lot.
They would definitely. They bounce like Slapshot stuff, right? Like straight in the title. Yeah.
I mean, like, how many like punk kids you see going up on stage wearing like Bruins jerseys and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like it's such a thing.
Yeah.
Not in my town, they won't.
But yeah, no, it's interesting.
Well, I feel like that's a whole thing. Like even what was it? The Hard Times made an article about like hardcore punk finally going into hockey phase. Like
yeah, totally.
Like, it's definitely a thing.
It is a thing. Yeah.
Seeing you walking back through my door. whether or not I'm sure I'm fine, I'll steal a line from some movie you like, or like do something different. I'll do what you want, I swear to God that'll pay the rent. It's just hard to be an adult sometimes. I know it's my fault at times, but I'm just kind of a loser. I'll be gone. There's no need to soothe her, I just cause problems. If I was gone, I'm sure you'd solve them. And it feels like I want you, but it feels like I need this more. I need this more. I need this more. And I'm having trouble seeing you walking back through my door. Through my door. Through my door. Take my apology for getting trampled while my ego's on the loose. Getting mocked by things I said and generally taking the abuse. It takes two to dance, but I led with an empty box of wine. I've finally done my piece. I'm finally finished wasting all your time.
So where do you guys fit yourselves? I mean, do you, because you have punk elements, you have emo elements, you have some stuff that I guess is a bit poppier and some stuff that's a bit heavier. Like, do you just call yourselves a punk band at this point, or what do you do?
The one
That's
that's
the easiest way,
yeah, we're a punk band. A lot of the times, just because of like the content in our lyrics, so me and Jocko a lot of the time say like, oh yeah, we're like emo punk,
Right.
So just because it like that, the lyrics are very much kind of in that kind of
Yeah,
vein more than
yeah.
anything else. They're very personal and generally dealing with
Yeah.
that kind of content, I guess.
One thing I think is cool is that I found recently talking to a lot of, I mean, I talked to a lot of local bands, obviously.
Of course.
But it's just like a lot of local punk bands who are maybe 10 years or so younger than me, which I think is probably what you guys fit in. The word emo is not necessarily like, it's not a bad word. It used to be a bad word.
Yeah.
When I was like, in my 20s and playing bands and stuff, anyone said emo, it'd be like,
Yeah.
they give them the stink eye. But now emo, because a lot of kids I think grew up with emo being just a normal part of what they listen to, and it's now like you guys being an emo punk band is not weird.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's nothing embarrassing about it, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, and I think another big thing is that like 10 years ago, emo, it was the mainstream eyeliner pop punk emo, right?
Totally, yeah.
So it was Fall Out Boy, it was Panic at the Disco.
Yeah,
that's what
and that
people
stuff
saw.
is awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was great emo before in the 90s too. But
well,
like,
yeah,
it's just
because
people,
if you go farther back, there's like
Sunny Day Real Estate and stuff.
yeah,
all those
Sunny
bands are
Days,
great,
Real
yeah.
Estate, Captain Jazz,
Yeah.
like even you could even say Jimmy Eat World,
little
and
bit,
Moneen.
Yeah,
you know?
Moneen was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it is. Yeah.
That's one of the things that we get compared to a lot. Is like at least our stage presence, anyways. Like compared to Moneen, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and they're one of my
Is your drummer
favorite.
standing up all the time?
No.
But they're
But-
one of my favorite emo bands.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever
yeah,
seen
for
out,
sure.
right?
And
Like, and
that
they're-
like that's the kind of stuff that me and Jock were listening to, that kind of like drew us into like the emo
In the
thing.
formative years, I guess, of
Yeah.
listening to music, right? Yeah.
And then later on, like right now, there's this like what they're calling like new wave of emo.
for sure,
right?
yeah.
So Mom Jeans and Basement and
modern baseball.
All
Modern
those sports
baseball,
bands,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then and even some bands that are considered kind of part of it, like Pup and stuff like that,
Sure.
where it, just because of like the lyrical contact, like kind of punk music, but with more
Yeah.
technical aspects.
And I think emo that is what it is. It's
Yeah.
punk music with emotional lyrics and
Well,
with some other elements too. But it for a long time had this stigma to it,
Yeah,
and I'm glad it doesn't anymore because
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I didn't want to. I listened to Sunday Real Estate for a long time. I never wanted to tell anyone to listen to emo. Like
Yeah.
that was. I mean, I didn't listen to a lot of it, but I mean, I had the CD. What is this? It's punk rock. You
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I remember there was the same stigma behind it, like in high school, right? Like, or when I was in high school, that like you don't say I like emo,
No,
even
yeah,
if that's
yeah.
what you're listening to, even if like definitively Captain Jazz and all that, they're emo band.
Yeah.
But
People think
back
eyeliner. They
then-
think stupid
yeah.
purple haircuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when did it change though? Like what happened to make it not a curse word? Basically,
I don't
Like,
know. I just think it just like the last couple of years with like the new like emo bands coming out. The fact that like the younger generation, they're taking these newer bands they're finding, and they're finding those old punk bands that everyone made fun of back in high school, right?
Yeah.
And like when you go back and listen to some of those bands are actually excellent.
Sure,
Yeah.
but they got stigmatized because of whatever,
because of the pop culture,
because of
around it.
MySpace and
Yeah.
yeah.
Because of like the whole scene
MySpace,
culture
yikes.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this like the scene culture and the like I don't know, like making it a commodity,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
making it so mainstream made it something laughable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to everything.
Yeah, it happened to grunge.
Happened to hip hop.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where if someone says, I mean, if I say I listen to rap, I'm thinking like Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Someone 20 years younger than me is thinking like some guy with face tattoos.
Yeah.
Rapping atonally over a beat is just a blipping noise.
Yeah.
And they're both valid. It's just
Yeah,
one
but
of them makes no sense to me.
exactly,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think that's probably where a lot of the stigma came from with like that whole movement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are comfortable calling yourselves emo at this point? Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you ever had any negative reaction to that, or?
Oh,
Is it mostly just,
like once in a blue moon, we'll get some person be like, "Oh, emo, like you mean like Fall Out Boy?" We'll be like, "Sure, whatever, if that's what folks are about." Yeah, like call it whatever you want, man. Like if you come to the show, you'll find.
Yeah,
out
exactly.
What it is.
Yeah, you heard.
Yeah.
We had a pretty funny run-in Toronto. We were in a coffee shop, and we were talking to some guys, and then one guy's like, "Oh, so you're in a punk band? Like, what kind of like punk are you in?" And we're like, "Emo punk." He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna go to that show." And it's like, fair, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
At least he was honest about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And yeah, it doesn't really phase us at all.
No,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you feel that you having those kind of emotional lyrics and playing music that's it's loud and fast? Do you feel like an urge to kind of make a stronger effort to get those lyrics across in the performance of it, or on the recordings, or in liner notes, things like that? Is that an important element of it? Because you're not just doing the typical punk thing where you're. I mean, not that every punk band has throwaway lyrics, but a lot of them do, right? I mean, and if you're doing something that's a little bit more sincere and in depth, I guess.
Well, definitely on the recordings, I know me and Jacques try to push really hard to make them like put the the heat behind them that we're feeling in them. And I think the performance is like, I don't know, I think everyone in the band has that kind of, we all go ape shit the entire time, and I think that is because it's a bit of a therapeutic thing for everybody. Like all of us have like a lot of pent up stuff, and we like
you let it out.
unload it there.
leave it on stage.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe a better way of asking that then is, how important do you think the lyrics are to the overall?
I mean,
product? Like,
at a show in a bar, the odds of someone hearing every
not
single
gonna happen.
line-
Yeah.
And so if people can understand them, that's great. In the context of the songs, like for me personally, the lyrics are incredibly important.
Yeah.
Like work over them, a million times, and so does Jacques.
Yeah.
And so in the context of the recordings, absolutely. If we were at a show where everyone could perfectly hear the lyrics, and that shows where people have listened to the album, and they like when people start singing along to them, which has happened maybe a handful of times.
It's cool though. Yeah.
It's like
feeling,
that's
man.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. But just because, I mean, if you were if you're a folk band or something, the lyrics are basically that's the forefront, right? That's what people are there for. And I mean, so it's like a challenge to have important lyrics that you want to get across, and then noise. So.
Well, and in an ideal situation, yes, like everybody would be able to hear the lyrics. I mean, it's just the nature of bar shows, right?
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Have you ever have you guys ever tried playing like stripped down versions of this stuff?
Handfuls of times. Like,
does it work? Like, does the energy need to be there?
Well, it kind of depends on the like what we're doing. There's certain songs where I don't think it would translate terribly well. But Jacques has done acoustic performances just by himself, like performing some of these songs. I've like done that a handful of times, and it's like if the song musically works, because sometimes a lot of the songs are really based off what we're all doing together with like kind of like unison licks and stuff like that. And
which you can't do while you're
you're just playing with an acoustic guitar. But I think they translate really well. Slow them down a little bit and just kind of punch out the vocal a little bit more. Yeah.
In a situation like that, would he ever do your songs and vice versa, or do you?
I doubt it. I think we would always do our own songs most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem singing into Jacques. I don't think Jacques would have a problem singing into mine.
Probably not.
But I think it's just because we always
it's your stuff, right?
Yeah. So generally, we always sing our own, like the songs we write ourselves,
Makes
just because that's the person who has the most emotional context behind it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Yeah. Is there? Do you try to keep it evenly divided, like on the album, for example, of whose songs are whose, or is it just whichever ones the band kind of works best as?
Well, as we're writing them, it's kind of it'll get to a point where like we have a ton of like one person's songs or the other. Generally speaking, we like to try and keep it relatively even.
We try to we try our best to keep it 50-50, but like
I think like on the album it wound up like
6 and 5 or something.
6
like
and
that.
5, kind of. Well, I mean, one of them is almost exactly half me and half Jacques. Like the first track is I do all the verses and he did all the choruses, and then after that it's like 6 and 5 versus 6 and 4.
Yeah, it's
and that's just how it worked out.
Yeah.
Because like how we usually write tunes anyway is like someone comes in with something, right, and like whoever's putting lyrics to it. Usually we just alternate it downstairs. Like it's
So
not.
me and Jacques will be respectively working on stuff. We'll bring kind of the bones of something, bring it to the band, and the band will make it interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then so you're all contributing.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it's your song or Jacques' song.
Yeah. No, they're all like.
By the end of it, it's a Screaming at Traffic tune.
It's written by Screaming at Traffic. It's just one person brings the initial idea generally.
Okay. I think I asked you this last time too, but do you feel that there is like a distinct sound to each? I mean, like outside of obviously the person singing is going to label it as your song or his song, but tonally maybe, is there something that kind of stands out?
I'd say no, actually.
No? Like it's still overall is the same?
I think I'd say only in maybe just like the phrasing of lyrics and stuff like that.
Sure.
For the most part, because the band, like once we all get together, like Jacques and Stefan and all of us, we all kind of pick apart songs the same way.
Okay.
And so there'll be like certain little things.
So vocally, yeah.
Vocally, of course,
Duncan likes to go fast and not. I'm gonna use the term ramble here, but it's not really rambling. But like, he likes to go fast. He likes to like really spit out what he's got to say. Jacques likes to take his time with it a little bit more. But you look at tunes like "Bitter" and "Weekend Cartoons." "Bitter" is sung by Duncan.
Right.
"Weekend Cartoons" is sung by Jacques. They're both bright major tunes in and around D and A, and like. They both sound like a Screaming at Traffic song.
Yeah.
So, like, the vocal, like, whoever's doing the singing during that might, like, kind of give it that little bit of a different edge to give it a little bit of diversity in our tunes. But I'd say really more to it, like, they all end up just being Screaming at Traffic tunes because even... Jacques will ask Duncan's like how did that sound? How did that lyric flow?
We'll also like pick apart each other's like melodies and stuff, and pick it at each other with like, or be like, oh, you could do something like this here, and you'll be like, oh yeah.
Right. And I guess you guys have played in enough bands together that you're comfortable enough with.
All of us have played together forever, and like especially me and Jacques have played together like non-stop since we were 18.
So you no qualms about telling each other what works.
And obviously, and because of that, our songwriting is gotten to a point where it's like very
it's complementary.
We are very much similar songwriters. Our songs always sound like each other's songs.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, because the songs on the album were sort of written quite a while ago, and you waited a year before releasing it after recording it, where are you guys now in terms of new material? Do you feel like what you're doing since the album came out, if you have anything new, I'm not sure, is drastically different just because of the amount of time that's passed since you initially wrote those songs, or is it still pretty much in the same vein?
I'd say it's still pretty much in the same vein.
A little bit, yeah.
Well,
It's, I don't know, it's a little more technical.
a little more technical. All of us have just gone a bit better at our
Well,
instrument.
the playing in practice, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like, we have one new tune that I've told the guys we are not starting on that. I need to warm up before we even come near that tune. Middle of the set.
But yeah, we definitely are well into starting the next batch because we obviously want to record again.
Sure.
And the reasonably near future, I don't know what that'll be exactly.
Whenever
but,
you stop touring.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little more technical. I've gotten better at singing.
Well, that helps. Right? Well, I guess the reason I ask that is because I know a lot of bands have, I've talked to on here, have said that in similar situations where they recorded something a while back and now they're promoting it because they're touring, or you guys are obviously trying to get the album out there, and they feel like those old songs don't necessarily represent them anymore, and they're kind of sick of playing them. Are you guys still playing these?
I still love all those songs.
It's still fun to go up on stage and slam out.
Doesn't matter how long you guys are. It's been since you.
No, there's like a handful of songs where I'm like, well, that's relatively simple now compared to what we're working on these days.
Sure. Yeah.
But only even a couple of them at that. Like.
And we just
still like playing them. Like
they're still fun.
Yeah.
There's no boredom level of playing them every night.
I think we maybe had like
maybe in the basement.
Once in a blue moon we'll be like, can we just
rehearsing them is not fun, but as soon as we're on stage, that's all gone.
Yeah,
it's still fun.
Yeah, the only two songs we have ever really dropped were those first two that we dropped from the EP. One of them because we were like, this is definitively not our sound. It sounded a lot more like a Greek Riot song than a Screaming at Traffic song.
Okay. Sure.
And then
well, that would have made sense though, because you guys would have just kind of Greek Riots around that time, right?
Yeah. It was still like me just like riffing away over kind of things, and Jacques singing lyrics that were kind of
didn't mean anything.
Yeah,
he didn't like them.
Yeah, and so that was the first one to get the chop. That's Strange Tubes.
Okay.
And then
I don't even remember what the other one on the album is.
Or
the EP.
Oh my goodness, Metagame.
I
still like Metagame. I still play that one by myself all the time. But
Metagame's a fun.
Yeah,
just hard punk tune.
Yeah. That was me just trying to write a Husker Du song. That's what that one is. Yeah. Husker Du song about Dungeons and Dragons. That's what that one is.
Both good choices.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we did pantomime instead.
Yeah.
So do you like now that the album's out, how long are you kind of planning? I know you said you want to record as soon as you can. How long are you hoping to have between records? Like, have you thought of that at all, like time wise?
We had heard a good time frame as told by I guess industry people.
Yeah, there are dates and times.
They say a year and a half is a good amount of time.
Okay, so you're not overloading people with new stuff.
Yeah. We're not sure where we sit on that, whether we want to do sooner or longer than that. It depends how long it takes to write stuff. We don't know if we want to release some EP or something in the meantime between that or something. So
because the thing is too, like in Winnipeg, we've heard our set. If people who've been to our show have heard our set, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we're touring so much.
Makes sense.
It's been out for 2 months. We just came back from out east. Nobody has heard us.
Yeah.
And so we could honestly tour out there for a year and a half.
Because you're still fresh.
And and just
same set too.
Yeah.
So because we're getting to the point where we're a little less concerned about trying to pump up the Winnipeg punk kids, because they've all heard us a million times.
They know who you are.
Yeah. And so we want to get out to
we love you guys for it. By the way.
You're also the best people ever. But we want to make sure we tour out a lot, and like the people who haven't heard it yet, we want them to hear it, and then wait like I don't know for the right time to release another album.
Yeah,
whatever that winds up being.
The short answer to that question is we don't have a time frame.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you have your general idea of when you're hoping to do it.
Yeah.
We have started writing new songs. We've even road tested a few. We have, I know for the first time in a very long time, I've started writing a song.
Cool.
To practice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Based out of context is a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah.
But when it comes, who knows?
Yeah.
Cool. And this one came out on vinyl, right?
We have it on vinyl.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
CD and digital. Yeah.
So how did that was probably your first release on vinyl for any of you, I guess. Eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it's just awesome. Just like getting them in the mail was mind crushing.
Yeah.
We all knew we wanted to do it really bad, and we were figuring out how we were going to get it done, and then Little Rocket Records, they were
we'll
like,
do
well,
it.
we'll
Cool.
press it for you, and then
That helps,
you,
yeah.
like, you just have to, like,
Pay us
pay us
back.
back.
yeah. Sure. So, I mean, albums are obviously still important to you. And the only reason I bring that up is because, we live in this dystopian future where people release singles only sometimes, and people don't have CD players, which is insane, and all this stuff. So you guys are still set in the whole kind of old school style of, like, release a record as, like, a unified set of songs.
All of our favorite bands that are still releasing music today are still doing it.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense. I understand why in pop music it's about like all about the single and everything.
Because
like
it's so temporary, right?
Yeah. But with punk and metal and like harder music, it still seems like album is the right thing to do because people want to just absorb all of it at once. And
I still remember, it was only a few months ago, but like
back in the day,
when Pop released their trailer for their third album, it was just like a 30-second clip of the end of one of their tunes, and it was just them on stage, and it was like, okay, I'm ready for all 15 songs. And that feeling, you don't get that feeling with a single.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. It's weird that there's not really a defined way that people release music and consume music now.
Yeah.
Like for the first time in ever, there's not.
like even tapes are coming back.
Yeah, I know. Tape, record, CD, digital only. Like there's no. It's all over the place. It's like the Wild West for how you release stuff.
And I don't know, but just wanted to put it out in as many ways as we thought, like in the ways that we would go and get it. You know what I mean? So all of us listen to digital music. Obviously, everyone has streaming services these days.
I don't.
No, fair.
I'm one of the few holdouts that won't do it. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean, fair.
Yeah.
And good.
Like everybody in the band has their record collection.
Yeah.
I started a tape collection over the last tour because our van only plays tapes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
I'm still stoked on that one that we got from the guy.
that was
Montreal.
rad. Holy
Yeah,
God.
we got this mixtape. I'm not sure. I'd have to if I had the tape here, I could tell you exactly what it is. But the lead singer from Panic Attack, out of Quebec City or Montreal. I'm not sure. I think he's from Quebec City.
He lives in Montreal, but I think the band is out of Quebec City.
Yeah. Anyways, the band's called Panic Attack.
Good name.
Lead singer Frank. He I guess has a tape label.
Okay.
And I was gonna buy the Panic Attack tape, and he gave me. He's like, oh, don't spend your money on that. That's like 4 songs for like that amount of money.
Yeah.
Get this comp that has like 20 bands on it.
Nice.
And it's all over the place. It's obviously a lot of punk, but there's also some weird like folky bluegrass stuff on there. There's some straight thrash metal on it. Like
Winnipeg to Waterloo. We drove Winnipeg to Waterloo.
Yeah.
Or Waterloo to Winnipeg.
It's a long
Sorry.
drive.
that was a solid 26 hours.
Yeah. Jeez.
We just had the tape on repeat.
That's awesome.
Because
awesome.
You'd get this new song. You'd be like, it'd be 1:30 in the morning. You'd be driving. And it's like, wait a second, I don't remember that one. And then, or like, wait,
Or
is
someone
that,
falls
is that
asleep,
actually,
I guess, right, and wakes up. Yeah.
Is that actually bluegrass? Like, what's going on here?
Cool.
Like, it's such a good tape.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that was a thing though. Like compilation albums were always the best. It was the best way to discover bands. And I wish they were more prominent because they used to be the thing. Like I mean, I think most punk bands I listened to in the '90s were discovered from those cheap $5 punk comps. Like and every label had like 3 or 4 of them. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's
someone
really
needs to
cool.
do it here again.
Yeah, no.
There are old Winnipeg comps, but nothing in the last like 20 years.
Hey,
I think-
Ringwalds.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the last comp that there was that one Nothing Under the Christmas Tree that
that's right. Yeah,
that was fun.
But that was digital only though.
Yes,
I think.
that was
I don't
digital.
think. I think.
Yeah, they
I should
released-
know because I had Brian on the show talking about it. But
Yeah. But
Sorry.
I think Brian just released it on Bandcamp.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because that's one place where you'll find a song that I don't even know if we know how to play it anymore.
I don't
that we
think we
literally we wrote like in the 3 weeks before the comp came out because
Yeah.
we were working on a song. We was like, we need to release at least one original song for this thing. So and then that's what came out. What
That was
did
such a
we-
cool idea. That comp.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
What was the name of that song?
Don't ask, man. I don't remember.
Christmas theme though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Right
Hans
on.
Gruber.
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber.
Yes.
Hans Gruber.
So you guys are, I assume, believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad you're on the right page.
Yeah.
I get very upset when people tell me it's not.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah. The best Christmas, the Christmas movie. So, I mean, hopefully people hearing this are already, based on the downloads you're getting from the old episode, already know who you are and have heard you before. But if they haven't, what's the best way to find out, where you guys are playing shows, where to hear your music, that kind of thing?
The best place to find out where we're playing shows is to go through our Facebook for sure.
Okay.
Or keep up through the Instagram is also pretty decent, but Facebook is where we regularly post about the shows.
Yep.
Hearing our stuff, Bandcamp, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes. We're on any streaming service that you could imagine.
And also, we have our online store set up through Bandcamp. So if you want something like mailed out to you, that's the
can do
place.
that.
Yeah, so that's the shirts, vinyl, CDs.
Cool.
You can all get through there. And we got a record in a couple of music stores. We're sending a couple out to some places in Toronto. We're going to talk to the local ones here.
Cool.
So like the records and CDs will be around.
Okay, and then I guess shows, obviously.
Obviously shows, yeah. We'll always be slanging merch at shows. So.
Okay, and it sounds like you guys have a lot of shows going on at all times.
So. Yeah, we're doing our best to keep busy, yeah.
Because this will actually be out after we've released all this stuff. Just fun fact, we've got some new merch coming up.
Cool.
We've got a coloring book coming out.
Seriously?
It might be sold out by the time we get back to Winnipeg. So if you
you need to explain what this like.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll we can.
Okay.
So I'll explain it while he's in there just to
sure,
show you.
sure,
but
sure.
So we did this animated music video for the song Pantomime.
Yeah.
Our friend Nick Drescher, who designs most of our merch.
Okay. Yeah, you have a look. You guys have a look to your stuff. Yeah.
So he's designed the majority of our merch, and he's worked as an animator and stuff for quite a while.
Okay.
So he has this thing, Grass Monster Studio. If you ever want an animated video, he is the guy. Yeah. So it's this like very cartoony Dungeons and Dragon themed music video.
Okay.
So it has all of us individually done up as like D&D characters, like D&D characters we've actually played in with our campaigns with them and stuff. And so we're like just kind of joking around, playing like a coloring book would be fun because he just did a doodle of it and he just showed it to us. And so we're
it's
like
one of those adult coloring books.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play a little game with you here, Simon.
Okay.
We're gonna get you to describe to your viewers what you're seeing.
Sure.
I currently have a Screaming at Traffic coloring book
the
here.
first edition.
So we're gonna go.
Definitely has a Dungeons and Dragons vibe to it.
Oh yeah.
So you guys ever play the game The Bard's Tale for Nintendo? The original.
Oh
Nintendo?
yeah.
This looks like the cover of.
That may or may not be intentional.
Okay.
So all right, we're gonna get you. We're gonna show three.
Yeah. And you just describe what the image is.
Sure,
and you just gotta describe what the image that you're seeing is.
This looks like a pirate ship with maybe a wizard and a sea monster. Is this supposed to be you guys?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anybody who's seen the pantomime video,
This is the same style. Yeah.
These are our characters. So
Okay.
like, I'm the wizard, Doug is the rogue, Stefan's the cleric / paladin, and Jacques is the fighter.
Okay. Cool. So pirate ship. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get a.
Did you choose the characters yourselves, or was this just kind of a
no?
side
He
did
designed it based off of what we've actually played in D&D campaigns with him. So like what we normally pick when we're playing.
Yeah. This is someone getting beheaded. This looks like an angry pope in the background. The guy being beheaded is sleeping. Someone's eating a sandwich. The wizard's checking his watch. These are cool, yeah. So I guess what's the goal with this? Like, do you want people to color it, like send it back to you or something?
Well, hopefully we put a little thing on the back, be like, hey, let's show us your pictures, like tag us on Instagram.
Are you the best at coloring? We'll be the judge. Tag us at Screaming at Traffic Music on Instagram with your best work.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But we just thought it was more just kind of a fun,
totally
weird
fun,
thing. You know?
I can't think of any other bands that have this kind of merch. So it's cool.
So, we just thought it was a cool, weird thing to make.
So if you don't sell them out on tour, you can be selling them online as well, or are they just strictly being sold at shows?
If we sell them out on tour, maybe we'll order more. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But these will be exclusively available at shows.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the last one here.
It looks like he is constipated, perhaps. I'm not really sure what's going on. The knight is floating on the cloud, maybe, and I don't know what's going on here, but it's pretty cool.
All right.
Awesome. It's a coloring book, right on.
Yeah, and there are 10. So.
Oh, so it's very limited edition. This is like extreme.
No, I mean 10 pictures.
10 pictures.
Yeah. 10 pages.
Yeah.
I don't know how many we actually have.
20, but one's already sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's still a fairly limited edition.
Yeah, it's a pretty limited run.
Cool.
We've been having a lot of fun with our little limited run stuff.
Yeah.
We did the jerseys, and like we weren't sure how that was going to go, but it went pretty well. And
Awesome.
It's more just for fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so for the other merch, not this one, people can get that on Bandcamp.
Yes,
and
yeah.
get it through shows and all that stuff.
Yeah. All the shirts are available on the Bandcamp, the trucker caps, and are sold out for now. Yeah, we'll be re-upping those eventually.
Okay.
And then obviously the CD and the vinyl.
Yeah, cool. Okay, awesome. If people want to hear more episodes of this show, including the one from 2 years ago that seems to somehow still be popular, you can go to witchpolice.com. They're all there for free download and streaming. You can also tune in on Sunday nights at midnight on 101.5 UMFM, and those are older episodes, so by the time this airs there, you guys may even have a new record out. Who knows? I mean, they're quite a few months behind. They started broadcasting the show like when I was already a few months into making this, so there's a bit of a delay, which is kind of cool though, because it gives an extra little boost at the end. If someone happens to be listening to the radio at midnight on a Sunday when you should definitely be listening to the radio, and months from now, and all of a sudden you guys pop up. Maybe they never heard you before. Maybe they go back home and go on the internet and buy your shit, right? Like, so
Yeah, who knows? That'd be
it's
cool.
kind of a cool. It's kind of a cool little boost because I always forget which episode's going to be on, and I often forget that it is on at that time.
Yeah.
I've been in the car and I've changed the channel. I hear myself talking, and it's like, what episode is this? Who? And it's some band I forgot I even interviewed. So it's kind of a cool bonus. But,
Yeah, I like
but yeah,
that.
yeah. So I mean, you guys will be heard on there eventually.
Sweet. Can't wait.
But people obviously should download it because that's the main way.
Oh yeah.
The podcast, but
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the show. That's what I got for you.
Right on.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah. Thanks for
anytime, man.
talking with us.
Cool.